We're going to solve a classic algebra problem involving ratio in two ways. One is we're going to use algebra because it's a classic algebra problem. The other one is we're going to do it visually. Basically, you can do it without using any kind of algebra. To me, the visual solutions are basically arithmetic, the old-fashioned arithmetic that we used to do without using x. First, I'm going to solve this problem visually. Then I'm going to solve it algebraically. Let's read the question. A large basket contains mangoes and avocados. Originally, the ratio of the number of mangoes to the number of avocados was 2 to 3. After 5 mangoes were removed, the new ratio of the number of mangoes to the number of avocados became 1 to 2. How many avocados are in the basket? Now, you really have to understand the question. There are mangoes and there are avocados. Only mangoes are being removed. So the total number of avocados did not really change. And the question wants us to find how many avocados are in the basket. It's same as the total number of avocados we had originally. But it doesn't matter. You have to find the total number of avocados, the original number or the new number, because it's the same. Again, the original ratio of mangoes to avocados was 2 to 3. 5 mangoes were removed. The new ratio became 1 to 2. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to solve this visually. And please feel free to pause and write down the question so that you can look at it later. I think most of the slides I have will have the question so that we can always refer back. Okay. Originally, we had the ratio of mangoes to avocados was 2 to 3. That tells me for every 2 mangoes, I have 3 avocados, or I had 3 avocados. For every 2 mangoes, this is one way to look at it. Now, I am not saying there were exactly 2 mangoes and there were exactly 3 avocados. That could have been the case, but it's quite likely that's not the case. This follows from the concept of ratio. For every 2 mangoes, there were 3 avocados. Now, let's erase that for 1 second and make sure we get this. So if I had 4 mangoes, 2 plus 2, 4, then I had 6 avocados. Okay? If each box was 6, I could have had 12 mangoes and 18 avocados, and 12 to, sorry, my 8 doesn't look very nice. 12 to 18 is 2 to 3. So you have to understand the concept. The catch is, I don't know what each box is worth. I'm really trying to find out. All right. So that's the basic concept. I believe most of you understand that. Okay, here is the deal. Some of the mangoes were removed. 5 of the mangoes were removed. And the ratio became 1 to 2. That means for every 2 avocados, they had 1 mango. Now the problem with this portion is it's hard to cut this into 2 pieces because I have 3 boxes. Of course I can. I would have 1.5, but I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do, instead of using this ratio, I'm going to change this ratio a little bit. I'm going to take this 2, the part that doesn't change, I'm going to multiply both by 2. Okay, the ratio is still 2 to 3. Okay, 4 to 6 is same as 2 to 3. Now I can actually work on my new scenario. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Now take a look at it. For every 2 in the new scenario, what happened after some of the mangoes were removed, for every 2 avocados, they had 1 mango. For every 2 avocados, they had 1 mango. For every 2 avocados, they had 1 mango. Guess what? In the new scenario, to get to the new scenario, what part of how many chunks of mangoes do you have to remove? I'm going to say this guy has to go. I'm going to go over this part once again. Okay. let's go back. This is my original ratio. Now the number of avocados didn't change, so I'm going to take this 2 and multiply 3 by 2, multiply 2 by 2. The ratio will be the same, and that's all I did. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm claiming how do I get from the original scenario to the new scenario? According to the new scenario, for every 2 avocados, you had 1 mango. Every 2 avocados, you had 1 mango. Every 2 avocados, you had 1 mango. So I'm claiming to get to the new scenario, this was removed. If this was removed, this must be worth 5 mangoes. And I'm almost done. So I'm going to go back, erase everything, and this will become the new scenario. So original scenario will be gone, and you're going to see a new scenario on the next slide. Alright, so take a look at what went on. Take a look at the new scenario. If I remove 1 box, which 5 mangoes were removed, so this has to be 5. I have 3 here in the original case, and I have 6 here, and that is 1 to 2. For every 1, I have 2. For every 1, I have 2. For every 1, I have 2. And I'm almost done. If each box represents 5 mangoes or 5 avocados, this part, 5 times 6 is 30. So I have 30 avocados. That's my answer. That's the visual way. And you want to understand the visual method because it's more universal. You can use, if you really understand how to teach it visually or how to do it visually, you can use these problems in a 5th grade class. Alright, you can pause the video if you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and look at the algebraic solution. Let's erase all that. Here's the question back again, the same question. I'm not going to read it because I didn't change anything. And in algebra, we define our variables first. And we are going to assume in the original basket there were 2x mangoes and 3x avocados. Now take a look at it. 2x to 3x will reduce to 2 to 3. So there's nothing wrong with that assumption, and that's a valid assumption. The only catch is I don't know what x is. X could be 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Alright, so what happened next? Okay, 5 mangoes were removed. After 5 mangoes, if you had 2x mangoes originally, you remove 5 mangoes, so this is what you have now. And you had 3x avocados, it didn't change, so you still have 3x avocados. So basically right now you have 3x avocados, that's all this is trying to say, and 2x minus 5 mangoes. So let's write the question again. It's a write the equation. It's a very critical step, and you want to make sure you get it. So what kind of equation can we write? Well, this is what I'm going to argue. I'm going to say, according to the question, the new number of mangoes, the ratio of the new number of mangoes to the new number of avocados has to be 1 to 2. That's exactly what the question says. So I'm going to say 2x minus 5 to 3x is equal to 1 to 2. And all this is a simple algebraic equation, and I will have to solve it. Okay, so I'm going to just solve this equation. 2x minus 5 to 3x is equal to 1 to 2. Now remember, this colon is really divided by, so really 1 to 2 is really same as 1 over 2. And that's what I'm going to use. So this is my original equation. I rewrote the equation in this form. I cross multiply 2 by 2x minus 5, 1 by 3x. I get 3x here. I distribute 2 over 2x minus 5. I get 4x minus 10. I rearrange the unknowns, which is 4x minus 3x. I bring negative 10 here. It changes sign. Most of you know all those algebraic rules. And if you subtract 3x from 4x, x is 10. Well, originally we assumed that there were 3x avocados. Well, if x is 10, there must have been 3 times 10, or 30 avocados. That's our answer.